Sup, bitches? This is Dom, and you're listening to the Games Only Podcast.
Welcome to the Games Only Podcast. Welcome to the Games Only Podcast. Welcome to the Games Only Podcast. Welcome to the Games Only. Welcome to the Games Only Podcast. This is Sunflower HP 1703. Dr. Gumar. Check. Welcome to the Games Only Podcast. This is Sunflower HP 1703. Dr. Gumar.
Hello and welcome to the Games Only Podcast, episode 50. 55th.
No, not 55th. 50th.
55th. It's the fifth, like you plead the fifth.
No, because that's not the right episode number.
I am your host this evening, HP 1703, and if you turn your back in front of me, I will give you the golden goose. To my east...
what we discussed.
Don't worry about it. To my east, the only man on the podcast who understands the golden ratio, it's Dr. Gumar.
Blang with my numbers.
Treat equal numbers of people the way the other numbers would like to be
That's the
treated.
golden rule, not the golden ratio. To my south and west, man who's close enough to the golden hurricanes in Tulsa to get golden showers. It's Sunflower 4000.
That is true. The stadium is not far from here, but everyone just laughs at it because everyone loves OU down here. Anyway, hi, hello. Happy 50th.
Hello. Let's talk
the
about
golden episode.
This is the golden episode.
So are we going to do something special for today's episode? Today we're going to talk about games, right? That's what we're going to do for
yeah,
50th
I thought
episode.
we would change it up. We're going to talk about games this episode.
Yeah, why not? We'll talk about games. So no Saved by the Bell.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
No Game
Watched
of
an
Thrones.
episode of it today, but you guys don't care.
Hey, what'd I just say?
So last week after the show, we all kind of challenged each other to play Stalker, Call of Pripyat, because that's a PC game that we all own. And I think Sonny's put in the most time in it, so I hate to start with Sunflower because he...
No, don't start with me because there has been a mistake and it thought I was playing overnight.
Oh, so how long have you...
In reality, I did not spend much time with the game.
You hit start and you walked away.
Fantastic. Okay.
Do you guys want to talk about it, though? Like that game you guys want to start with?
Yeah, Stalker, Call of Prophylactic, or whatever it is. Yeah,
I want to start with HP because he's never played a Stalker game. Did you really know what to expect going in?
No, I did not.
And what did you get?
First of all, for many reasons, I put the difficulty down on baby.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, sure.
You're
But
a bitch.
I am a bitch. So this game has in it, it's a first-person shooter, in kind of an open-ish world. You can kind of go anywhere and pick up missions, it seems. So there is an element in this game where you have to keep yourself fed, and bandage yourself, and it's aiming for realism. And on baby mode, I've got way more food than I need to actually eat. So I think I'm losing some of the appeal of this game by playing it on an easier mode because it's all that stuff is pretty easy.
Yeah, I understand that. And a lot of what makes these games shine is the tension and trying to survive, so I can see that.
Right, yeah, so, yeah.
So the game starts out by just plopping you in a field.
Right.
You walk
Yeah.
up to the guy you
Literally.
see, and he's like, "Yo, dude, put down your gun." And I'm like, "Fuck, what's the button for that?" So I go and I go to controls, and there isn't a button. So I cycle through
That's
my
it.
options until I find a fucking bolt. So I'm holding a bolt that I guess I can throw to make noise somewhere off in the distance.
Yeah.
That way the guy doesn't shoot me.
Small minor spoiler, I did the exact same thing, except I managed to accidentally discover that hitting the weapon button twice
will
bolster it.
lower it, yeah. Did the same thing. I can't tell you how many times I have paused the game and looked at the controls. It has been, I think, easily a decade and a half since I played a for-real PC shooter. And I think
so Doom was your last PC shooter.
Well, like Wolfenstein, and then
Quake.
some of the earlier Star Wars games, like the Jedi Academy and those kind of, the ones where you were shooting guns. Anyway, yeah, it's been a long time. So all these controls that I think are fairly standard with the running on shift and the crouching on control, like all that stuff I just don't remember. And my hands just don't do it either. They're like, hey,
They're
need
trying
to run.
to curl around your keyboard to find the trigger on the back.
Right. Yes. In a way. So after the first mission that I played, I ended up like double crossing these dudes who were gonna rob these other dudes, and then I was in the middle of the night on this thing, and I didn't have anything to do, and I didn't want to go out into the world, but there doesn't seem to be a way to, like, make time pass? I couldn't go to sleep? Was I missing something?
Can't you equip the harmonica and stand by a trash can fire and then just wait?
No. So yeah, the first night I ended up having to go out into the world, which I didn't want to do because you really can't see. You have like a head-mounted flashlight, but that just paints a target on your head.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so I didn't think it would be a good idea to go out into the world, but I wasn't about to have my dude just stand on this ship for, you know...
I think there's a bed you can sleep on the ship. If you're scared of things that go up at night.
I believe so. It's not easy to stumble across it though.
Okay, well yeah, there were 2 beds on the ship and they were occupied, so I couldn't like
those sons of bitches.
So if I find an unoccupied bed though, I can like make time pass.
I don't know.
This game is almost insufferable. In all honesty, I was very bored that whole night.
What really bummed me out was, I remember when you were asking about buying it in the Steam sale, and in my head I said, HP won't like this, I gotta stop him. But that wasn't before a friend of ours, Gravy, was like, oh, they're fucking brilliant, you should buy them. And you were like, okay, done. And I was like, but... And I didn't want to be like, well, man, you really hate this. So I was like, alright, man, I hope you enjoy it. I mean, thank goodness it was dirt-ass cheap, right?
Oh, yeah. I got the whole pack for like $4 or something.
And I played this on release initially, and I remember having a good time with it and being very scared by a few things, and the emission storms in particular is kind of...
Yeah,
why don't you tell me
that? That reminds me.
The first one, you kind of don't know what the fuck to do.
I have all this extra food I didn't need. So I came across these mercenaries, and they're like, hey, get the F out of here. And I'm like, what's up? And they're like, we're all starving, and if you don't leave, we'll shoot you. And then I was like, hey, here's some food that I don't need because I'm on baby mode. And so they were cool with me. And then the first storm came, and they're like, everybody into this room. And the game checkpointed, it saved, but it saved in such a way that the door was blocked, the door was closed, and there were like 3 dudes all trying to run into this door at the same time.
It does have plenty of jank.
Yes! So I must have died about 5 times before I was like, fuck you all, I'm gonna find a different place to hide. Including one time where I shot the dudes who were trying to get in, and then the other guys opened the door and killed me. Yeah. So, yeah, there's some jank in this game that I didn't understand was going to be there. I didn't know was going to be there, but, I don't know. Man. Again, I think a lot of the appeal to the game is lost on the easier difficulty levels, and so I don't know.
I do like the physics of the monsters, not the actual like human enemies, but the monsters. How if you start shooting them up, they'll just kind of run away and get the fuck out of there. It's not like they're hell bent on killing you. If you scare them away, they will just go. I kind of like that aspect.
Okay, I ran into a group of angry dogs that did not seem all that annoyed by my shooting of them. They kept barking and biting me. So I would love to come across enemies that would run away when I started shooting. So yeah, I have put no more than 2 hours into this game.
And I've put even less because with the games that I've played, especially the one that takes place in Russia, known as DayZ or Arma 2, boy, does Stalker feel bland, boring, and not scary. I was incredibly bored this time around. Things in that type of genre, these types of games have advanced so much in such a short amount of time, I didn't really notice that until I tried Call of Pripyat again. And I was like, oh, man, this really isn't doing it for me anymore. This is, very, very horrible stuff. It just was underwhelming, and I didn't have much interest in it anymore. Doc, anything?
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really that's going to draw me back into the game. I don't really like open world games, and I think I've said this before, and then I played Saints Row the Third, but this is really open. They don't really even tell you your main goal. Check out these 5 helicopter crashes. And I went and checked out one, and it was electronic components or some bullshit like that. But I mean, it was there's no point. I don't feel like there's a reason to run around, If there was a reason for me to get up there, do some shit, then I'd be more than willing to go out there and do some shit. But there's nothing, so I might as well just fucking sit in that boat, eat beans, and, I don't know, play Parcheesi with some strange Russians. The localization's weird because everybody you talk to has a Russian accent. It's mostly text, but they have a Russian accent, and I'm assuming I'm Russian as well. And then I had a dialogue line in which I could say "forget about it," it was written "forget about it," and I was like, "There's only one proper way to say it." And I don't think the accent that comes out of my mouth when I say it is Russian. So it was just
forget about it.
Yeah, it was just
howdy ho.
It was just weird. I don't really feel any need to play this game.
Okay. Yeah. No. I recall Gravy talking about these games fondly on a different podcast, the NoobTube Modcast, if you'll recall. Anyone out there actually listened to that?
I don't know if there's any of those.
I don't think anyone listened to it. So that's kind of why I was interested in this game, but
I don't know, the Europeans just no offense to our European listeners, but you like some weird games like the Poverty Simulator known as Mountain Blade Warband, and this is a dirty
the Poverty Simulator.
This is a dirty first-person shooter. I have nothing to do, so I'm going to go explore the shittiest land in the world. It's just strange concepts.
Yeah, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, not play it. That's what I'm going to do.
I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to
uninstall it.
I'm probably going to uninstall it. And then I'm going to talk to you guys about a game called Hero Academy.
Hero Academy!
Very little about. I know it's a robot entertainment joint. The same people that brought us Orcs Must Die. I know nothing about Hero Academy. Somebody...
let me give you a little overview. Basically, it's a game that's on your iPhone or iPad. It's a grid-based little tactical game. Very simplistic. Certain warriors do certain things, and you're tasked to destroy the other player's crystal. They can either work on defending it and killing your dudes, or they can be coming after you. It really depends on what kind of playstyle you have. Thing is, it's perfect for mobile because it notifies you when your friends have taken a turn. That's the beauty of it, is that you don't sit down together and play.
Asynchronous. Okay.
Right. It's turn-based, and it'll send you a little notification on your phone. Thing is, this Steam version of the game is basically the same Hero Academy that you've had on the iPhone, which is cool. No problem, right? And then, you realize that it's not really suited for a PC. It's cool that it came. It brought some Team Fortress 2 characters that you can choose from, because there's different races, and they all have different abilities and different units. One of them is the Team Fortress 2 race, I suppose you could call it. And yeah, they aren't really suited for a PC. Asynchronous play, in case you haven't played a game that's like that on the PC in quite some time, which you probably have not. I know I have not.
Mm-hmm.
It ends up with you opening the game for about 3 minutes and then leaving and coming back whenever the hell you feel like it. So that's a big negative for it. On the positive side, I already owned Hero Academy on my iPhone, and they link together, so I can continue my game on my iPhone that I started on the PC, or vice versa, which is nice.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
And it's a fun game, don't get me wrong. It's just not suited for the PC, and I feel bad because they're wanting to get more people, on the Hero Academy bandwagon, and it's cool, it's fun, and everyone can play. But I just kind of wonder if this wasn't a waste of their time. Doc, your thoughts?
This is the first time I played the game since I do not own an iDevice. It is a cute little game. I can see it'd be great for a mobile device. And the Steam versions try to do the same thing you mentioned for the mobile device. So if I can minimize the window, the sound cuts off, and a little notification will pop up on the right-hand corner of the Windows bar saying that, oh, it's your move. So they do the same type of thing, and it's fun if I'm playing like a game on the 360 and I have my computer up and I can multitask and go back and forth.
And you've got the game running. That's the other part. You have to have the game running.
The nice thing is the game doesn't take up much resources. Of course, I'm flying on 8 gigabytes of RAM here, so I guess if you have like a 2 gig laptop, the game's going to run, but it might take up too many resources. But I mean, it's a really small download, and I feel like it loads up quick, so that's how I can tell it doesn't really take much off. So they tried their best to make it as compatible like the Hero Academy on the mobile devices. But I haven't played much. Like, you can't play against the AI.
Can't do much playing.
Yeah, you can't play against the AI. They have challenge modes in which you have to, defeat these guys. They give you a rearranged setup, and you have to defeat these guys in one turn. But you can't set up like a simulated battle like you would playing a human being. So your choices are to find a friend, which obviously isn't difficult because you just send a request and then hope they play.
And there's already a big player base because it's already on iPhone.
Or you can just play a random person. Those are pretty much your two options. But it's not like you're going to sit down and get a game done in 10 minutes unless I know Sonny is sitting in front of his device doing the same thing.
Yeah, and even then, the wait is just intolerable, because we're used to just having everything now. And you also, one of the negative parts is that with this type of game, you don't want to have too many of them going on at once, or you'll lose track of what the hell you're doing, and you'll kind of, start to ignore the game if there's too much pressure on it. I know I felt that with that wonderful, wonderful game, Draw Something. When I had 25 games going on, I realized, hey, I really don't want to play anymore. So I'm being pretty frugal in how much I'm playing. I'm only playing against my friends. I'm having a good time. But, why was this... I don't like to be the kind of reviewer that would say, well, why didn't you just do this? But I don't really understand why they didn't make this a browser game.
Browser game would have worked out real well. I don't know how they would have handled microtransactions for them. They have to get user accounts.
There's ways to do that.
There's ways to set up like their infrastructure on their site. There are ways to do it, but I mean, I guess it was just easier to integrate into Steam, in which the microtransactions are already built into Steam. You could buy more different set of characters, you could buy different color palettes, that type of idea. But yeah, like Sonny was saying,
it should certainly be in a browser.
Like right now I'm playing a game with Sonny and another game with Lock Vince. It's kind of like going to the park and seeing the guy playing like 10 people at chess. Sitting down, and there's one guy like walking through playing all the games. That's kind of what it is, and it's that type of pace. It's really similar to chess, except with goofy characters, I would say.
Yeah, and it is fun. Don't get me wrong. It's just you can't sit down in front of it and play for it for an hour. You just can't do that. There's no game there for you to do that with. And they tried, like you said, with the challenge stuff, but it's ultimately very shallow
Yeah.
in that respect.
I think if I was on Steam and Sonny was on Steam, we would be able to play it in a more of a real-time facility, but that's not how the game's supposed to be done. So.
It doesn't command your attention like other games do. It would be something that you would, like he said, you leave on in the background, and hopefully, your opponent is still in front of their computer.
Yeah,
so.
Hopefully he's not making the move while you're jerking off, and you're like, oh, what do I do?
Well, that's going in the review, just so you know.
Fantastic.
But it is a fun game, and I honestly don't know what the retail price of it is on Steam. I know that I believe I paid $2 for it or $3 on iPhone, and that gives you one basic race, and the rest of them are $2 a piece. I was playing Locke earlier, and he had some crazy orcs, which I kind of...
Yeah, he likes the orcs.
But I also didn't want to buy the orcs, because I'm kind of okay with what I've got.
Yeah, I mean, each set the characters have different moves, but it's not wonderful. I mean, it's... I really recommend this on iOS much more so than on PC, because it fits a mobile style of play far more than a sit-down PC game. And if you get it and you're excited to play it, you'll realize that you can't do anything for another hour or so until your friends take their move. So, kind of frustrating in that respect, but it is nice to have this option. And being able to play between the two, being able to have my iPhone and being able to pick up on my game where I left off is a very excellent thing to have. Yeah, if there's some way I can get notifications through Steam without actually running the game, that would be a little bit better.
Right, that would be great.
It's like, okay, I'm done from work. If I want to play Hero Academy, because since I don't have a mobile device that runs it, I would have to go to Steam, open up the program, just leave it sitting, and hopefully somebody plays me. It's anticipation to play a game when I could just go and actually play a game. Something else.
Flawed but fun, I would say. If you listen to what we've said, you'll understand what the flaws are, and if you can deal with those, then you can just dive in. We're giving it to you like there. I mean, we're telling you straight up. You'll like it if you can deal with this, and that's really what there is to it. So it's up to you guys to make the educated decision whether or not this is a kind of game for you. I'm enjoying my time with it, but at the same time, I don't feel pressured to buy more from that game, even though I do like playing it.
It says on Steam that it doesn't come out until the 16th, so they don't even have a price yet.
I can see them, because there's microtransactions in there, I can see it being free to play, especially because they don't have a price yet. So,
well, you see, that's what I thought, but on iOS it was either $1.99 or $2.99, and I'm sure they're going to charge something. It just seems like what they would do. But I don't want to say for sure, because we'll see.
Yeah, we don't know yet. But
that being said, don't be afraid to play me on Hero Academy. My username is Sunny Buns. That's right.
That's fantastic. Sunny Buns. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Mass Effect 3's multiplayer experience?
We've been sleeping on Mass Effect 3 multiplayer for a while.
Yes, we have.
Back in the day, we were like, it's really like putting a dent in our productivity. Not really productivity, but
Yeah,
the needle was going right into the vein.
In terms of
but it wasn't doing us any good.
Sure.
Yeah. And then they ended up having a few expansions that they tossed out, and I take a look at them every once in a while. But the other day, I picked it up in earnest, and I played a couple games, and damn, there's a lot of expansions, and these are really good, and it's a lot of fun with these new classes, and I'm doing it again.
Heard the new classes are a little broken.
They're really strong.
One of the N7 Shadow, which is an infiltrator class, I think is... I have seen a few shadows, and they can pretty much get through
Basically, they can solo almost anything. They can fire a shockwave through walls, which is very useful. They can cloak, and they can vanish and teleport behind enemies and kill them.
Yeah.
If that's not really strong, I don't know what is, because it gives you lots of options for anything. So if you want to just harvest credits, that's the way to go. Hopefully you get one of those. I was able to get one of those special lucky packs for beating some stupid challenge way back in the day, and I got one. Mm-hmm. I've unlocked a couple others since then, but what really drove me to want to talk about this is not really so much what the multiplayer is now and how much fun it is, it's so strange to me because I think about other games where developers say, well, we had to develop multiplayer. Let's look at Dead Space 2, for instance. We developed multiplayer so that people will keep their copies and not trade them in. Did that work with Dead Space 2? Hell no.
No.
People don't know. I mean, if you make a crappy multiplayer mode, it just simply, you won't hang on to it. You know, it's not going to get that longevity that you're hoping for if it's crappy. But Mass Effect 3, they did pull out a lot of stops to give it an addictive metagame, in a way, almost, where you would, earn special loot for gaining credits, and I think that hook was enough to make sure people continued to play that game. Because if it did not have the loot, I do not think I would be playing it.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, Dead Space did it to prevent people from selling the game. Not only is this, it helped people to keep their Mass Effect copies, it also helped them sell more things in game.
Oh yeah,
I would love to see their profit just from these.
Oh, they are making a killing because we know people who I personally have spent some money, but we know one person in particular, a friend of ours, HP Doc, that has spent stupid amount, and it's so easy to spend the money. So they got that impulse control down pat and how to exploit that, and I can't really hate them for that because I like new weapons.
And it works good because it's not like you can buy the weapon you want. It's like, I hope it's in this pack, please.
Right.
Well, the thing is, they've made sure to give you plenty of options so the game still is fun, even if you don't get something shiny and new. Even if you get a repeat, it adds on and makes it stronger for weapons, for instance, or items that you hold on to, or new experience and new ways to customize your people. So they made sure to put in that little kind of fail-safe so that there's almost no penalty to getting something that you already have.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, HP? You've been enjoying it too?
I have. It's yes.
It got its hooks back in you.
I wasn't invited to the party.
You're always invited.
You're always
bro.
invited to the party. Yeah.
Kind of hard to go if nobody tells me where it is.
It's the party is in my pants.
So on Xbox Live, gamertag HP1703 or Sunflower4000.
Oh, hey, watch the friend request come soaring in now.
Great.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, the class system in and of itself is not new, but having different classes do different powers and having different races in each class be able to use the different powers, it still feels interesting and fresh. And
I still don't have a guess. This upsets me greatly.
I'm sorry. This is one of those things we've talked about. Among my friends, we talked about, wouldn't it be cool if you were able to give someone like trade cards? Because I think I have both of the Geth, and I would be happy with just one of the two.
I'm sure EA thought about that, and they're like, well, we wouldn't make money off that transaction.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm certainly, and if you hear some honking, that's because the dog is biting on a toy. But
is that what you kids are calling it nowadays?
No, it's this. Anyway,
you are raping a clown. Yes, okay.
Okay, clown shoes.
Okay.
I do think that one thing that would be cool for them to add would just be a few more things that you can collect that maybe don't get reflected in the game itself. Unlockable titles would be a cool idea, or a art collection, kind of like HP had mentioned, a card. It would be kind of neat to have a card of like 500 different Mass Effect things with a tiny little bit of background, maybe something pulled from a codex. I think that would be cool to add into that, but that's certainly not going to happen. And the titles,
if you could have the titles display instead of your name, that would
or instead of that point total. That's what it would replace.
The N7 rank?
Yeah,
the N7 rank's kind of interesting. I did some, not really research on it. I managed to come across a developer talking about it, how they hadn't really made any plans for the N7 rank to mean much of anything. It's just to see your own progress. But it kind of developed and got a life of its own among people that play a lot.
Yes.
Where if you're like me and you have 150 N7 points, you will get laughed out of lobbies.
Yeah.
Regardless of how much I've played, I will get laughed out and kicked out of lobbies.
I played with a couple of friends of the show who would talk me into kicking certain players if their ranking was it's too low.
That's
which is
cold-blooded.
interesting because now we are those players because we dropped the game for months. I don't know.
Yeah, a lot of
time we
missed
played it
points
was
there.
probably March, and yeah, now those players, my friends, want the game. So it's fascinating, and I don't know that I really enjoy that. I think there's something very elitist and something bastardly about that. But yeah,
And those are our friends.
Well, sure.
Well, another thing that kind of balances that out is that you have consumable items that you can take into battle. And if you're going to do a very hard challenge, it benefits you. It very much behooves you to bring your best items with you to use and not be afraid to use them to make sure that you will complete this. Because nobody likes to waste their items, revives, rocket launchers, things like that, on a failed run that isn't going to get you a bunch of points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the only way to get that N7 rank up is to reset your characters too, and some people just don't like doing that. I guess it's kind of like prestiging and Call of Duty games. It's that type of style.
Yeah.
And some people just don't do that. They could be great at the game. They could have played a lot, but they just didn't feel like resetting.
Yeah. So that was just something interesting that I wanted to mention that I had noticed and that I had found out some information on. So that's pretty much all I've got to say, except it ensures that I keep my copy of the game and will make me that much more likely to buy the single-player content that is coming out in a month or two.
I look forward to talking about that.
Leviathan, they call it. Leviathan.
A large
serpent,
seafaring
fish,
mammal.
fish. Catfish.
Yes, it's a large catfish.
Speaking of catfish, Doc, tell me about Borderlands.
So I was sitting at home and I wanted to play something. And I said, "Fuck it, backlog. Let's see what we're doing."
Nice.
And why not Borderlands? Borderlands 2's coming out. Maybe if I like it, I'll get the second one. And
now, was Borderlands the game that you still had the shrink wrap, or
there's a lot of games I still have shrink wrap for.
Is that a yes?
I'm trying to look around the room to see if the shrink wrap's still there. I think it was unwrapped.
But had it been played, I guess is my real question.
I have not played it, no.
Okay, I was just making sure that was it.
I played a little bit on PC for like 10 minutes, but I'm playing on the 360 now. It's not bad. They do a lot of right things. They do a lot of wrong things, which they have addressed and will fix in Borderlands 2, which I'm happy. But like one of the nice things is the color coded to tell you that there's an item here. Like everything is bright green. That tells you that there's an item here. That I've noticed like right off the bat. So instead of having to like search around a realistic environment to try and find extra items or like things you could open, crates you could open, there's like a little green LED light on the outside of the items that you can open up. So that's a nice little touch. And even like bodies you can search have like this green mist coming off of that, like it's decaying, but it's green, so you have that color connection that tells you there's...
Can I mention one thing they did really wrong?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I thought I was...
It would have been really nice to walk over money and grab it instead of having to pick it up.
Thank you for, not waiting for me to say it, but, Yeah, that's the one thing...
As long as you agree with me.
Yeah, that's the one thing they are going to rectify in Borderlands 2, I hear, correct? So that's why I didn't feel it was overly too terrible. But yeah, it gets annoying after a while. Same thing with the extremely limited inventory. That gets really annoying really quickly.
There are ways to add spots to your inventory in the game.
I'm sure, but it probably takes a while to do so. I think I got one pack upgrade so far, and I still like it's way restricted.
You're never going to feel like you've got enough room.
Yeah,
right.
You probably won't.
Yeah, it's always in this game. It's always a matter of like which guns do I not need, and then dropping guns and picking up better ones. You're always picking up better guns.
Yeah,
and it's really unusual to me because I've never really found a game where they do weight limits to the benefit of the game or inventory limits unless you're having to make significant choices, and it's not just a way to make you work more, which is frustrating.
I didn't see you playing this at all. Were you playing with some friends? Were you playing by yourself?
I was playing by myself.
I want to play with you. I want to play more Borderlands.
I wanted to play with myself because look, if I announced, because we have some very ravenous Borderland friends.
Yeah,
if I announced that I was playing Borderlands, I would be like, oh, I could play too, and look at this, I'm going to jump over here, we're going to do this real quick, and I'm going to rubber shoot this guy on the face, and it's going to be good, and then I'm going to be like, well, I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm watching you play the game through the game. So I wanted to experience by myself.
I won't be like that, bro.
I know you won't be. I know you won't be like
you.
that. I know you won't be like that. I'm just saying in general.
I want to play.
Besides, if we're playing a co-op game, we're playing Hunted together. Cause,
we are.
I can check out that sweet booty ears. But so this game, this definitely should be played multiplayer because it's really fucking boring by yourself. Just the atmosphere, I should say. Because, I mean, it seems like they should have a lot of flavor in it. Like, Claptrap is a crazy robot that does crazy things.
No, he's an annoying one.
But he's annoying, and that's pretty much the only real thing that talks to you, really. All the quests, like, there's a couple cut scenes with, like, I've played, like, probably 4 hours of it. I'm, level 15, so I'm a good ways in. And there's, like, Dr. Zed. I think his name's Zed. I don't know. He doesn't really talk to me that much.
He's probably one of the best developed characters in the whole game.
Yeah, and he doesn't say much. He doesn't say much at all. It's just saying that, hey, I'm a lazy fuck. I don't actually repair people. I repair the machine that repairs people, and that's about it. There's this blind hillbilly that sits on a rocking chair that you don't see very often, and that's pretty much all the characters I actually met. None of them really have character to them. I mean, this game was supposed to be like gushing with like flavor, and you kind of tell from the models, but they're not doing anything beyond that. I went, the guy, Dr. Zed said, hey, go check out this guy. He kind of explained him a little bit. Obviously, it's all in text. He's like, oh, check out this guy over there, and I get over there, and there's no cutscene. He doesn't say a goddamn word, and just the wall of text with a mission quest comes up. I mean, it's like playing World of Warcraft, and that is
kind of a bummer. The story was certainly one of the places where Borderlands lacked a lot. There are some characters later on in the game and with the DLC that are enjoyable, like General Knox, for instance. I really liked him, but he was talking your ear off the whole time. So it's kind of hit or miss, but some of the things that you'll hear on a transceiver or whatnot are actually pretty entertaining.
Yeah, the tape recordings are pretty good.
Yeah, it's just there's not very many of them compared to the rest of the game that there is.
I mean, the quest thing isn't great. A lot of the quest direction isn't wonderful. Like, I can pick up 3 quests at the same time from the same person, and they won't send me in the same general area. Like in a regular MMO, if I was getting 3 quests from one person, they're usually around the same place. That way I can do them all at the same time and come right back. This is not like that at all. Rather annoying in that I can only have 1 quest up at the same time. There's no like secondary option. That really gets me too. So it's really just a mess of where I have to go, and is this quest interesting enough for me to continue doing it? Because I've been getting a lot. I know there's a few that actually lead to the main story, but like every level, it's like, there's more quests available here. I'm like, well, that's good. They're probably gonna be fucking boring though. I mean, it's. They can try, like, I guess the hook that was in, Fuzzy and all them, and I guess maybe it's the loot, right? Is that, like, the big driving factor? Because the loot is nice. The weapons are extremely well designed. They're really pretty to look at. The reloading is great. Like, if I had a sniper rifle that only held 3 bullets, when it pops at the chamber, it's a 3-bullet chamber. If it's a 6-bullet chamber, it will be a 6-bullet chamber. It's really cool, really well done. But, like, beyond that, it's just not very well done. Like, the questing is bad, the atmosphere is bad, the story's bad. The only thing that drives it is eventually the multiplayer.
Yeah, yes. I think the people who enjoy this game because they're playing it with friends. Like, I don't even like the loot in this game. I always feel like I don't have guns that I like.
Yeah, like from what I've heard about the weapons, and I've seen a little bit, like there's just like the same gun with just a little minute change. And even if...
Well, that's really one of their hooks. They were like, we've got 5 million weapons.
Yeah.
It's really just, let's multiply this amount of different types of weapon to this amount of different elemental properties it could have to this amount of different damage it can
And even
do.
in World of Warcraft, for like their generic green weapons, there's a short sword, and then there's like maybe only 6 different options, like short sword of the bear, short sword of the wolf, that type of idea, for that sword, and that's it. They don't change like every little piece of it, so they keep it limited. That way, you're not just like confused about everything. You can you can pick up a short sword. If it has that word at the end, it's going to work for you. If not, you can just go ahead and sell it instead of looking at the list. And the comparing the two weapons is really terrible in this game as well.
That's to Sonny, real quick. Well, actually, to me, real quick, and then to Sonny. They are changing kind of the weapons, like how each manufacturer, because there are different gun manufacturers in this game, so each manufacturer will make their weapon different. It will be distinct from each other one in Borderlands 2.
So you can tell, like, okay, I like the power of a Jacobs.
Right.
So if I see 2 guns and one's a Jacobs, I'm going to equip that one.
Right, and in 2 they are going to. It will like compare the stats before you pick it up. A little thing will pop up and it will compare the stats before you even pick it up. So they're addressing both of those things. And to Sonny, what was really fun? I'm sorry, baby.
Oh, I was just thinking back to when me and Doc played World of Warcraft all the way to the max level. That was fun.
Yeah, motherfucker, that was fun.
I'm still thinking about weight limits, though. A game like Resident Evil does it right, because you have these weight limits, which kind of encourages walking back and forth between areas, but the reason it does that is so that it can build tension when something actually does happen. You're kind of in the monotony of, I go down this hallway, I go up these stairs, and then through the first door, and then when something changes on you, or there's an explosion, that'll really get you. But man, for the life of me, I'm thinking of like Mass Effect 1 and Borderlands, and how much I hate the weight limits on that. The Witcher just drive me up the friggin' wall. No more weight limits. No more weight limits.
It's there to hamper the player. It's not there as a good thing. Resident Evil, it creates atmosphere. Especially, it's nice because it's a spatial weight limit. That's really nice. It's your crate.
Well,
certain slots.
Honestly, I feel Resident Evil's weight limit system is arbitrary. It's arbitrary as fuck. It's like
I guess
squares.
It's a little archaic. It's a little outdated. But like back Resident Evil 1, Resident Evil 2, it made sense because that was more survival horror. Now the Resident Evil series is more action. So it's a little thing that they just kept over. It's a little
Those are the
antiquated.
ones that I'm referring to in particular. The Resident Evil 1 and 2 and 3, for instance, are the ones that I'm referring to as being weight limits that made sense. Now, the Resident Evil 4, for instance, HP, you loved the shit out of that game, did you not? But you weren't a big fan of the inventory system.
I'm just it's arbitrary. I got into it because you make your attaché case bigger. You buy upgrades for it, and then it's bigger.
Then you play Tetris, making everything
right.
fit.
Yes. So I understood it, but honestly, I want game developers to either say, okay, you can carry one assault rifle and one pistol and some grenades and like put them like Max Payne 3, like he has to carry them on his person, or just I guess have an infinite backpack. Like there's no in between that makes sense.
There's an in between that's great. It's Torchlight, in which you have a little gopher that you can send out to sell items.
How does now, Sonny?
That just seems like added bullshit to me in a way, though.
It's alleviates actually having to leave and go sell your items. So obviously, it sucks that it's a limited inventory still, but it's not like, okay, I have to trek all the way back to town now to sell my items. You just fucking send your ferret or whatever to go do it.
Sonny,
even so, it's kind of just forcing you into that interface where you're in effect selling the crap that you don't want or are useless to a party member, and then you go without them. And in a way, to me, that seems kind of like bullshit, because you should really think about, is this even fun to do? Because
it's a better system, though.
Well, yeah, it's better, but that's like wearing the nicest pair of shit shoes in the world. I mean, they're nice shoes, but they're still made out of shit.
Yes, looks like. Sorry, I have to go sell my pair of shit shoes on eBay now.
I'm just saying that even though it is an improvement, and thank goodness that it's there, I think that we should really, well, not really we, because I'm not making games, but I would like to have game designers step back and say, is this here for a real reason?
Yeah, it feels like it's pretty much there just to piss people off. That's what I get out of it.
And if you've got so much loot that there's so much that you want to sell, you should probably overhaul some of your loot system. If there is a weapon that just totally blows in every way, why is it dropping off of anybody? Why isn't it just currency that's falling down instead? Or something like that, something that's actually useful without making you go through all these extra motions to get rid of it and get it out of your life. It just seems a little backwards to me.
Yeah, I really want to transition, but that reminds me. Is this inventory system just a gaming trope that we all agree is a thing, or are we still doing it because it makes sense in some way? Because you don't want the player to be bogged down by, you know, their inventory. Like you mentioned Mass Effect 1. If you recall, Mass Effect 1's inventory system was really terrible. It was hard to find anything.
And the worst part was that you didn't even realize it was a big problem until 2/3 of the way through the game when you hit a limit that you didn't even know was there.
Yeah, it felt like it was a limitless system, which is what it should be.
And then it wasn't, and it was really hard to get rid of all your crap that you didn't want.
Well, yeah, and I probably had an issue that no one else had because I'm me. But whenever I would get something, like if I picked up the best shotgun, I would take it for myself, and then I would disseminate my gear through everyone else. So if, like, my assault rifle was better than somebody else's, I would give...
So you're a fan of the trickle-down economy.
Yeah, I am.
Well, yeah,
I was born in the Reagan era, and man, I believe in... anyway, yes, so it probably took me maybe twice as long to play that game than it took other people.
And the question is, whose fault is that ultimately? Yours? Hell no.
No, because they fixed it in Mass Effect 2.
They did?
It was an obvious problem, so they fixed it.
Yeah, but as far as your question as to whether or not this is just something that happens in games, or if it's something else, I think it's honestly something else. It doesn't just happen. I think it's an artificial way, like I said, to lengthen the life of the game, but also to increase their bullet points. If Borderlands had had more meaningful loot and didn't have such a wide range of randomly generated weapons, I mean, because you could get, you know, the garbage weapons that no one could ever want, ever, it's still a bullet point for them to say, yep, 5 million combinations, instead of saying 500,000 combinations, but they're all
They actually own the Guinness World Record now for most guns in a game, and I think that's a source of pride.
It is.
Nope.
It's just slight permutations.
I believe even the shitty weapons in... I think the shittiest weapon in Borderlands 2 is going to be a weapon that you can throw and it will explode, and the power or the strength of the explosion is based on how much ammo you have in the gun. I believe that's how they're doing... So there won't even be like necessarily a shitty weapon.
It's all in how you use it.
Yeah, it's all in how you use it. So I think they're making some good changes.
One more thing about
I'm interested to see what they do
regarding Borderlands and weapon drops is that the enemies respawn. They respawn often, and the boss, quote unquote, boss enemies respawn as well. Or at least like the sub-boss enemies. So, I mean, like, I had to kill the same sub-boss 3 times because Quest led me down there 3 separate times, and I got the same fucking gun every single time. Like the same like blue or purple gun or whatever it was. You know, it's a good gun, but I already had one of them, so it's just like, well, fuck this.
I don't think that's supposed to happen.
Well, it did. So you thought wrong.
Oh, I think bosses are supposed to be dead if you've already killed them.
It might be a sub-boss or an elite monster in terms of MMOs. I don't know what the hell they call it. It's not like Nine Toes respawn, a Bonehead respawns.
Oh, yeah. So
like
he
still
shotgun,
drops
right?
that shotgun or a submachine gun or something like that. Give me something else, you know?
So there's... This is completely unrelated, but there's a way if one of your friends like jumps and you shoot them with that shotgun, they will go flying.
The wavy shotgun?
I think no, it's
maybe
it's a later.
That gives like a blue wave, and that's really
okay. No, it's a different boss later, but he's got a shotgun that you shoot your friend and they will go fly. It's funny as hell. Anyway, Sonny mentioned Resident Evil in terms of the inventory system, and I think you're the only one who's played the Resident Evil 6 demo, right?
I have not played it yet, actually.
But Sonny has.
Sonny has?
I have.
Oh,
okay. So how do they do the inventory in Resident Evil 6? And
good question. I'm not entirely sure because I only played through the demo once, and everyone was different.
Okay.
Well, they showed the inventory on the body, so that you have some guy with like 10 green herbs just hanging down off his belt, running around.
10 green. I love these little quirks about the English language that you have. Being a math guy, I just love it.
What? Because I said 10 green herbs.
Yes, that's awesome.
Okay.
10 green. I thought you were trying to say tangerine.
Yes, tangerine herbs. Yes, that's exactly what I was.
I don't even.
You were like tangerine.
How did you? What? Why would you think? What? Tell me about Resident Evil 6 demo.
Funny things. He says funny things.
He does. Why would he say tangerine herbs?
See, I think
why
you
would he
heard,
say tangerine herbs?
First of all, I said Tangeray herbs. Okay, get it
Tangeray.
straight. All right.
Tangeray.
Second of all, I don't say funny things. You hear funny things.
What the fuck was that?
Well, I was about to pop a cap in his ass, but since we have witnesses now, I'm going to have to restrain myself.
I'm fucking pissed. Episode 50, the one where we all die.
Yes.
Sonny, tell me about
your golden anniversary, how it should be done.
Hey, look, it's not my fault. Kuzlo could have been anybody.
Tell me about your Resident Evil 6 demo before you get shot.
I played it with my roommate, Blue, who was kind enough to yank one of the codes out of a GameStop case.
You should have played Dragon's Dogma and bought it, because it's a good game.
I have given Dragon's Dogma...
Even though it left sand in your mouth, it's a good game nonetheless.
So much grit. So much grit.
They are holding a contest, and I hope you all vote for Leslie Cotton to be the most, handsome gentleman in Dragon's Dogma.
Oh. What exactly is the contest? You submit your dude as a dude?
Yeah, you submit it with a picture in-game, and there's different categories, and he's just going to win, because he's fucking badass.
Leslie fucking Cotton, sure.
With a name like Leslie Cotton, how could you not vote for yes, this is a studly older gentleman?
And if it's only pawns only, well, there's Diddlebuster. I mean, his name's Diddlebuster.
So tell me about
Resident Evil 6
experience, Sonny.
Yeah, the demo gives you control of all three of the characters in the main campaign. It turned out that there's more campaigns than just those three.
That's Chris, that's Leon, and that's
the Russian dude,
the Wesker clone.
Clone Jake. Okay.
Well, they're calling him a son, but there's no doubt in my mind that Wesker has cloned himself in some way. Anywho, they all represent three what are supposed to be drastically different styles of play. One of them being Leon's is more like a classic Resident Evil, and it has you creeping along in dark areas, and that's a dog, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you can hear that.
I'm pretty sure they call them lickers in the game, but go ahead.
But they have you creeping around dark areas as Leon, and it's a short sequence, but reminds you a lot of Resident Evil 4.
Sure.
Chris's time in the game is very action-packed, more of a shooter, with shooter controls, as you would expect.
So more like Resident Evil 5?
No, not
so
like
the
Resident Evil 5.
So the controls change from person to person?
They change a bit. I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. And then Jake had kind of a he had to escape and kill a gigantic enemy. So it was kind of more of a boss fight for his section.
So
and
like
I played
Resident Evil 6?
That could be it. That could be it. But like, for instance, Chris's campaign, like I said, it was more action-packed. You were fighting people with guns. So you can see how the shooting parts would make sense. I had some really, really bad times with the controls, though. For some reason, it never clicked with me. It didn't feel right. I couldn't tell if the controls were changing, how exactly to get to my inventory and use it effectively. It was like they threw everything else from previous out the window, and they're trying to make it more like Dead Space, where there's no inventory screen. You have small little HUDs and things like that you can use items with, and frankly, it's confusing. I'm getting very confused when I play it. Which is kind of a bummer.
Well, it's a really... They released this demo really, really early, so hopefully they fix a lot of things.
I'm sure they'll... Because
usually demos like a month before. That's the game, and that's what they're going with. This was released, 4 months beforehand?
I think it was in early July. It actually came out for Dragon's Dogma purchasers.
Yeah, so 4 months in advance.
Yeah.
So
that they may still have some time, and they may not make any changes for all I know. But the controls really threw me off. The game itself was really beautiful. It was very gorgeous, and I'm very interested in it, especially because I had so much fun playing the fifth one cooperatively through the whole game. That was a blast. HP, you've done that as well with the same person that I did.
Yay!
Did you love Resident Evil 5?
It didn't have the same... I don't have the same nostalgia for it that I do for Resident Evil 4.
I think that's how Resident Evils work. The earliest Resident Evil you played is probably the best one you've played.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. I mean, it is going...
The experience.
Resident Evil is going in a direction that I like, and I think Resident Evil fans don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's very, very commercial.
So when I take Resident Evil 5 off my shelf and play it, I have to call up Lock Vincent of GamingAlchemy.com to play with me, right?
I highly recommend.
That's the only partner for me for us to play with.
I highly recommend doing that because it is a lot of fun with a friend. But that's Resident Evil 5. 6. Long story short. I like some of the things they're doing with it. Mm-hmm. The controls threw me off quite a bit, and I don't think it's just me. I think a few other people. However, my roommate, who is a dyed-in-the-wool hardcore Resident Evil fan, had no trouble whatsoever. But I also don't know how much of that is her trying to make me feel shitty, which might happen.
Yeah, you are pretty bad at games.
That's true. I've seen your live streams.
Okay.
I've seen Big Chief Battles before, and you
my 10-minute Spelunky live stream that I quit.
your Marvel vs. Capcom 3 2-battle live stream.
So play the demo if you can, but don't go too far out of your way to grab it. I'm sure everyone and their mother will be buying it this year, and it's going to sell like gangbusters, and I'll be one of those people in line. But I don't know, mixed feelings, but it's not enough to keep me away from the game.
Okay.
What next?
This is an excellent question. I think I'm just going to open it up to what do we want to talk about here in the last few minutes of the podcast.
Okay.
Oh, we got... I really do want to talk about Full House Poker, if you guys don't mind.
I don't mind.
With Bob Saget?
Is that with Bob Saget?
No.
Bob Saget in it?
Plays Uncle Jesse and the twins. No. Does not. We're not even going to talk about that because this is the golden anniversary, which says no to television. Full House Poker was released, I believe, a year or so ago. Mm-hmm. You play as your avatar and it's poker. The thing is, I'd never really paid any attention to it because I already owned Texas Hold'em, which was a poker game. But a friend of mine was recently telling me, man, this Full House Poker is the shit. It's fast and it's got these, a couple events every night that you can play against other people. And I was like, well, sounds okay, $10. And, I was relaxing on the weekend, had nothing to do, scratching my balls, and I was like, hey, I'm going to spend $10, and I'm going to get Full House Poker. Hey.
Uh-huh.
So I bought it. It has, I don't know if you guys have ever noticed this, because it's been in some games that I haven't paid any attention to, but Avatar Fame Star, have you heard of that crap?
No.
Nope.
Basically, it's another sort of achievement system within a subset of games that use avatars, where you can unlock outfits for your avatar and, games that you play as your avatar in. A bunch of different challenges and things like that. So that's a nice little thing to have on there. It's cool to earn experience for another system and unlock, oh, hey, cool, I got a new hoodie, crap like that. Because I love Avatar awards. I really do. Or rewards, rather.
Uh-huh.
I like the idea of having something, people see it and they go, whoa, where'd you get that? Because they've never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
There's an Afterburner helmet for Afterburner that I would like to get, but it will take me forever. But anyway, so it's got that on the back end. It's got a single-player mode where you play against computer card players, no big deal. You earn experience, there's 50 levels, and as you level up, you get different things, like different decks of cards that you can use, different themes. Different table surfaces, different chair surfaces, different venues and stuff like that, which, I like unlocking stuff. I like feeling like I'm going towards a goal. I'm sure you guys enjoy that too.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I've played online, and the best part about this game, and by far this is the best poker game I've played in quite some time, when you play online, it doesn't wait for each player to take their turn. You all take your turn at the same time, and it just, hurries on through it. So there's a minimum of bullshit and waiting around. It's by no means is it, pressure where you're like, oh god, what do I do? Because you still have 20 seconds to do your move, but you can do your move while other people are doing theirs, which is great. So it's very quick online, and I'm just having a lot of fun with it. I played in the Texas Heat event last night, where you earn plenty of experience, and whoever earns the most in a certain amount of time wins, and there's, as far as I can tell, no way to cheat and game the game, so to speak. So it's kind of a neat little event, and they've been using the 1 versus 100 technology behind it, because it's an event that everyone plays, and everyone gets ranked globally for that half hour, or that episode of it. So I think that that's really cool. The only problem with this game is that I don't have enough friends that play it, and I'd love to play it with friends, most of all. And
that's why you're talking about this game as opposed to other ones. Hey friends, I like this game. Hint, hint, hint. Please play with me.
I would like to play with anyone, but honestly, it's a fun little poker game. Kind of in a way reminds me of how I used to play Uno back when the 360 was first out. That was like, yeah, I'll play some Uno before bed, and it was relaxing, it was fun, and I like Uno. So it's cool to have another game that kind of scratches that same itch that I haven't itched in a long time, and doesn't come with Xbox camera pictures of penises. It's nice to just have that with your avatar, and you can do tricks and crap, little flourishes, and I don't know, it's really fun to sit down at a table online and see what ridiculous shit other people have bought on their dudes. It's really funny, so I really like the game a lot, and for $10 it was definitely worth it, and thumbs up.
Alright. Real quick, I want to know, what do you think about Spec Ops? 2 words. That's one word.
Tasty cake. No, it's been fun so far. Really enjoying what I've played so far from it. I'm in chapter 7, which means I'm probably a third of the way through the game.
Yeah, it's pretty close to
halfway. I just took a pretty big fall down into the very bottom of the city.
Okay,
so
I think you're going to hit the halfway point real soon, because I think it's 15 chapters.
And it's cool. I'm not looking at it like necessarily a military simulator like most people would. Look, it's just not Call of Duty. I'm playing it more for the story itself, and I know ahead of time that there's going to be interesting stuff with the characters, so I'm spending more time paying attention to my squad and myself and how things are developing. So that's cool. I like it. So far, so good.
All right.
Okay.
I also reinstalled Metal Gear Solid 4 and patched it because it has a trophy update.
And you're not going to play it.
I got through about most of the first act, and I said, I think I'm okay. I got the trophy for breaking off that guy's penis, the statue. I said, that's a wrap. I'm good. So, I don't know. Metal Gear Solid 4 is really
Now, if it was for game score achievements, Xbox, would you?
I don't know if that would be enough. It's kind of a chore to go through Metal Gear Solid 4 again.
Yeah, unless you skip all the videos, then it takes an hour and a half.
Which I have been doing. I've been skipping all the cinemas because I still remember those horrible things. God. But yeah, I tried that again. It was it's an interesting.
I enjoyed the cinemas. Just I wouldn't want to watch them again.
Yeah, and even I had my limits, so I don't know. I never skipped one through the whole game. Metal Gear Solid 2, I did skip some of those, but on the first playthrough. But anyway, and Book of Unwritten Tales is a cool adventure game. Thank you very much. Thank you. Good night.
Peace, I'm out.
Oh.
What about the rest of you guys? HP, you play Payday?
Briefly. Payday the Heist was on sale on Steam this week, and having just played Stalker Call of Pripyat, I was like, I can handle PC controls in this shooter, and it's a little fast for me, but I figure with 3 other dudes, I'll be alright.
Yeah, it's a hell of a lot of fun. I played the new DLC where you're in the hospital.
Yeah, is that Mercy?
Yeah, Mercy Hospital.
Isn't the DLC nice because if you own the DLC, Sonny, and host the game, we can still play it?
Yeah.
Nice. I finished Pokemon Conquest's first initial story mode where you play it as yourself.
The first Conquest, did you say?
And so yeah, it turns out there are all these other stories where you play as the kind of other warlords that you've met along the way, and each one has its own specific goals, and they each have a difficulty level. I think it's 1 to 5 stars, and so it adds a whole lot of content. And I started playing through that, and it's cool. It's really cool. So yeah, there's plenty more content once you actually finish the quote game. There's all this new game plus stuff, and you need to round out your Pokedex or whatever, and yeah, it'll keep me going when I'm on trips or whatever, just hanging out for quite a while, it looks like. So very cool.
Next week, do we have anything in particular that we're looking forward to or getting? I'm trying to see what all comes out next week. I believe Darksiders 2.
That's a game that I want to play, just I don't need to play it right now.
Yeah,
I'm passing on it. Wow, are we going to be the only podcast that doesn't play it?
Well, I want to play and finish the first one, which I own, which is on a shelf somewhere. I think still in the shrink wrap.
I'll play it when it's $30-$40, or I'll rent it because it. I don't know. I mean, I want to play it, but I don't need to pay $60 for it. I don't need it tomorrow, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I have interest in Sleeping Dogs, which
that also comes out the same day.
Yeah, it was previously what was it? It's the True Crimes Hong Kong game.
I'm not too excited.
That was canceled, and I like the True Crimes. I like Streets of LA. It was fun. Also,
in 2 more weeks you get Madden.
That's true. Expendables. The Expendables 2 video game comes out next week.
I am honestly not too excited for that. I've heard nothing but bad things. I've heard nothing but bad things. Friend of the show, Locke, has already played it, and he's not a happy camper.
But doesn't have all of the actors in it.
He hasn't played it with the 3 of us.
That's like saying Two Humans a good game, HP.
All right.
Shotgun and Jean-Claude Van Damme. Just saying. I'm calling it.
Hey, by the way, off topic, away from the gold celebration, Jean-Claude Van Damme is making Hard Target 2.
I saw that.
Hard Target, where his name was Chance, I think. Yeah.
He's probably in the American military with that thick old Belgium accent.
Well, he was born in the bayou or some crap like that, and this woman's like, "How'd you get a name like Chance?" And he goes, "My mother took one." Oh God, kill me! So bad. Thank you for listening to the podcast about games. Now we're going to transition into MOP, the movies only podcast.
Yeah, so we'll probably try to find another Steam game or something that we can all play for next week.
Yeah, we'll get something together.
That seems to be working out pretty well to start with those. that's a thing. Next week is the 1-year anniversary of this show as well.
I thought it was going to be a surprise party.
Oh,
Everybody was
okay.
going to open up the file, and then all of a sudden a cake materializes and a little party hat. And,
Yeah.
Oh, but dog,
Some streamers.
was a lie, didn't you know?
See, now,
that.
I was going to replace cake with something other birthday-related, and realizing that you were going to do that and make fun of all the nerds out there. And
The podcast is the truth. The end.
So, yeah, we have a 1-year anniversary coming up.
Great.
We hope to see you there.
If you
Yeah,
want us to do anything, let us know on Twitter, Dr. Gumar, HP1703, and Sunflower 4000. Those
That
are our
was
Twitter
beautifully
names.
done. That was, oh, you're a professional.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to this podcast for 50 episodes and supporting us over the past year. We all really appreciate your retweets on Twitter and your likes when we post things on Facebook, and yeah, any kind of forwarding of this podcast, egmnow.com/digitalnoob, NoobTube, iTunes, anywhere that you listen, please forward it to your friends, and we appreciate those of you who have. Yeah, thank you for listening. I am HP1703, I guess, is what you call me.
I'm Sonny, and this is the end of the show.
I'm Doc, and for my new podcast revolution, I promise to yell at Sonny more.
Oh, we're making resolutions? I'm gonna wear pants for the next 50 episodes. No more pantsless.
But are you going to let your titties hang out? That's the question.
Walk with my tits, walk with my tits. 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 I'm getting tired of people keep calling me fat. All the goddamn time. Little kids see me with my big ass breasts, my man breasts. He walking with his tits, mommy. So I'ma walk with my tits. 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 That's my shit there. I would dance to that song.